Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Aurora ZX Gaming here. I am gonna do a hopefully short video. Um, I made a Facebook post on the various Facebook pages that I follow for Legends, um, and I felt like it would be a good video topic to put on to YouTube as well. Um, it's gonna be in port for the majority, but there's some good tips here for Battleship players. Okay. Um, Number one, support your teammates. Don't rush in because you'll eat torpedoes all day, every day. All right. If you're gonna rush into the middle of the map, make sure you have escorts to go with you that can provide screening for destroyers. Okay. Um, don't think that you can't one-shot destroyers. Okay. I've done it before, and as you've seen in one of my videos with the Congo, I'm not lying when I say that you can do it. Um, when you see a destroyer near you, assume there's torpedoes in the water for you, and you need to initiate your WASD hacks. However, because we're on console, it would be more like the left stick hacks. Take evasive maneuvers, zigzag, slow your speed, change your speed, your direction up to try to avoid torpedoes. Um, Number three would be learn how to aim properly. I have a video up on how to aim. I will provide a link once I can get the chance to visit a computer. Um, you can delete a cruiser in one salvo. As you've seen before, I have done that multiple times. Uh, Target prioritization, okay? You've got to learn to prioritize the targets that are the most dangerous to your health, okay? Um, your destroyers are going to be your number one priority if they are spotted. Ping them with the in-game feature so that you can get your teammates to shoot them. Even if you have um, AP loaded, okay? Shoot them. Most tier 5 plus battleships have respectable secondaries to work them over. Their tiny health pools mean your 1200 or 1400, I believe. I can't remember how much it is. But your overpin damage is still going to hurt them a lot because they have such a small health pool. Especially if they're coming at you head on and you can overmatch their bow armor. Now, if they're coming at you like this, and you can get that shell in there, what's going to happen is as that shell impacts the bow right there, your shell's going to be so big that it's going to overmatch the armor there, and it's going to go right in. And you're going to get more damage because it's got to travel the length of the ship. It's got to go through the length of the ship, meaning that you're going to get more damage. Okay. Um, if you're spotted, assume it's a destroyer shadowing you. Especially late in the game when you're by yourself on a flank and there's a destroyer left and you can't see anybody because there are sneaky cruisers. However, you should be able to see them as soon as they fire their guns. If you're detected and nobody is shooting at you, assume it is a destroyer. If you spot a destroyer and you are on fire and you are near enough to that destroyer to feel like there's going to be torps in the water, do not use your damage control party consumable. Save it till you can ensure that you are safe from torpedoes. Um, Best bet is, and this is the way that it works for armor angling as well as target priority, point your bow at the target that's threatening you the most, threatening your health the most. Point your bow at them, okay? Whichever target can kill you the fastest, point your bow at it. If it's a destroyer, and you will eat torpedoes, if you know for a fact that you will eat torpedoes, don't go full broadside when I say this. However, try and angle your ship to eat them on the torpedo bulge. Let's see. Let's see if I have a better ship that could show a torpedo bulge. Oh man, where's the Colorado when you need it? Let's go pull that guy up. Okay. You see that bulge right there? Right there by that number 2 turret? You have that hole that comes down and then it juts out? That's part of your torpedo bulge, okay? Um, if you are angling against a destroyer and it is inevitable that you will eat torpedoes, do not just eat them on the bow. They will do full damage and they will flood you every time. Try and get yourself at enough of an angle that you will eat them on your torpedo bulges because it will reduce the damage taken and reduce the chance of flooding. Um, if you eat them on your nose or your stern, you will flood every time. If you get hit on the stern by torpedoes, be prepared to have your engines or your steering knocked out. Be prepared for that. That's a very common thing that happens if you get hit by a torpedo on the rear torpedo bolt, on the rear ship. Excuse me. Um, if you're engaging a battleship and a cruiser, prioritize the cruiser. Angle to the battleship, however, shoot the cruiser. Okay. If you're going to be angled at a battleship, he's going to have a hard time penetrating you unless he's going to switch to high explosive. Which then you would still want to shoot the cruiser because the cruiser's going to have the 12 to 15, even less than that sometimes, reload time, and he will burn you alive. Um, this becomes more of an issue as people wear into the game as the game gets older. People are starting to invest money into the game. People are starting to invest significant amounts of time into the game, which means you're going to have the problem of people having good commander skill sets. um, However, keep in mind you can recover almost all um, of your health from a fire. um, Learn which cruisers have torpedoes, and learn their ranges. This way, if you're fighting one with torps, you can do your best to keep him out of range. Now, given he's a cruiser, he's going to be faster than you. But if you know that you're going to brawl, essentially, be prepared that you will eat torpedoes sometimes. I'm very much a brawling battleship captain. I like to get up close and personal and face hug. I eat torpedoes a lot. However, it has also made me very, very good at dodging torpedoes. One thing that I love, and I love this about the Warspite is when you initiate a turn with the Warspite bleeds off speed incredibly well. Okay, so when you cut that rudder all the way to the left or the right, what happens is you lose a lot of speed. Some ships don't lose a lot of speed, some ships do. This goes into playing with the ship that you have a lot. If you don't play the ship a lot, you aren't going to do that well because you won't learn the strengths and the weaknesses of the ship. You've got to play to its strengths and not its weaknesses. For example, the Iowa. I figured it was like the Colorado and it had good secondaries. While it does have good secondaries, the Colorado has substantially more than the Iowa. The Iowa has the Atlanta's guns mounted on the sides as secondaries. Now, given it's got 10 altogether, but that is only 5 per side, and they only have a 5 kilometer range. Now, given they're double barreled, so you have 10 per side, but you only have 5 turrets, compared to, say, the Scharnhorst, who has substantially more secondaries. German battleships will have higher amounts of secondaries to make up for the lackluster dispersion on their main battery. That is what makes the German battleships so nice and dangerous up close when they are finally released. Their secondaries will deter some destroyers from getting close to you, especially if they're lower on the amounts of health that they have, and you have Ciliax as your commander. Hipper is also a good commander as he extends your secondary range. However, Ciliax is the brawling commander for the for the Germans, the brawling battleship commander. Um, if the only thing you're engaging is a battleship, angle your armor and fight back. If he angles, switch to HE for the ranged attacks, as this ensures that you will always do some sort of damage to your target, regardless of the angle. Um, I have a bad habit of not switching to HE sometimes, and I've been working on it myself. Um, When getting close, switch to AP to prepare for the broadside to broadside. This is called the big pass. It's the term used. When you switch to AP, you're going to increase the chance of hitting their citadels, and you're going to blow them out of the water. Um, when you're close, also learn to use the different uh, binocular modes. There are different zoom modes with the binoculars. When you are up close and personal with an Iowa, if you see right under those windows, there's a little section right in there, right between the number 2 turret and those 3 little windows right there. That is considered the conning tower. The conning tower is a citadel. You can hit that and you will get citadel damage, and you will also probably blow up that number 2 turret. Okay? The Iowa is notorious for being squishy. That's because they had to detune it, because on PC this is a tier 9. However, on here it is a tier 7, and it has to be comparable to the Amagi and the Vanguard. So it is detuned away. It's turned down a notch. But on PC it is also squishy. However, it's less squishy than what people make it out to be in console. Um, there is different zoom levels, like in Harbor, how you can zoom out, zoom in, kind of go to the middle, and then zoom all the way out. There is different binocular modes that you have probably seen me do recently, where I can switch and really precisely aim my targets or my shots. Now, given dispersion won't always go right where I point them. However, sometimes what I like to do is when I'm getting close to a ship, what I like to do is I like to aim right at the turrets, especially if I know that that person only has 1 or 2 turrets at the front and I can keep mine operational. That reduces the amount of guns that he can fire back at you. This is really applicable to the Japanese battleships. I really like knocking their guns out because they have so many. And the term throw enough shit at the wall and eventually some of it will stick applies, especially to the Fuso. Um, do not sail in a consistent straight line when being shadowed or hunted by a destroyer. Zigzag, change your speed, make it hard for those torpedoes to hit you. Um, do not sail broadside on in front of all of those battleships, those enemy battleships. Remember, you can recover some penetration damage and almost all of the fire damage and even some flooding damage, but you cannot recover citadel damage. That is health that is gone permanently. I have been corrected on my Facebook post, and it is about zero point 0.2. That is the multiplier that you can recover. However, it is not a lot. It is not a lot of health that you can recover from a citadel hit. Um, think ahead, okay? Play it like chess. You're always thinking several steps ahead. You're big, usually slow. Your guns reach out far and really hurt when they hit somebody's citadel. You can usually hit 2 flags in domination modes on some maps with the higher tiered battleships. For example, my Iowa, I have, what is my range? Let's see. I have a 19.1 kilometer range, and that's not even with a fully upgraded commander. Um, Follow your teammates to the best of your ability. If you see a flank that is completely empty, try and go over there. Request support. Somebody might come with you. It's always good to have other people with you, because then that reduces the amount of focus fire that you will receive. Um, Avoid crossfire at all times. At all times in a battleship. For example, if you're fighting one ship and you can angle towards that ship, do not try and fight a ship if he's going to be over here to get that flat broadside of your ship, because he's going to citadel you and you're going to have a bad day. Make sure that you always have your targets to the front. You can angle towards the rear. However, your armor back here is a lot more thin, compared to the front of the ship. Okay? That's why you really want to avoid crossfires. You don't want to have shots coming in at you 2 different ways. You want to put yourself in a position where you'll be shot at by one way, one angle, whether that's up against an island or just smart placement of your battleship. Okay? Do not be afraid to push up. Especially when you're in a division or with an escort, you'd be amazed at what you can do. A lot of my highest damage games are because I've had a lot of support with me. Um, it's always good to push sometimes. You've got to make the right judgment. Take the time to practice and learn yourself. Learn your playstyle, learn the ship that you're playing, and your ship will reward you. Um, Most importantly, though, have fun. It's just a game. Blow shit up, and if shit hits the fan and you're gonna inevitably die, try and take somebody with you by any means necessary. Um, Again, learn your ship, play to its strengths. You'll be so much happier if you play to the ship's strengths. Uh, the last two are pretty simple. Uh, for starters, do some research. World of Warships have released several videos on how some mechanics work. Armor penetration, HE, fire, flooding, how the armor mechanics work, so on and so forth. So, doing the research will help you get better and it will improve your lifestyle in the game. Okay? Um, and the last thing is do not border hump long range snipe the whole game, okay? At first, when the game starts, it is acceptable to snipe because everybody's at range while you're getting yourself into a valuable position, in a strength position. You can snipe while you're far enough away. But as things happen and the match develops, move in, and you'll be treated to usually higher accuracy by your guns. RNGs permitting, of course. Um, your damage totals will also go up because once you get close enough, what will happen is you'll start to get, if you get close enough to somebody who, say, doesn't have torpedoes, your secondaries will open up, your main batteries will be there. You've got all this potential damage that you can't use. You've got all these guns that aren't applicable if you're constantly sitting at 19 kilometers and shooting. Now, given there's times where if you get a bad spawn, you're going to want to back up and you're going to want to not border hump, but you're going to want to back up and let the match develop first. Figure out where your team's going, where the enemy team's going. A good point and a good valuable lesson that I have learned is fire and then come out. Zoom around, look around your ship, make sure, if you don't know, you can change your presets, which will allow you to lock your guns. For example, I use preset 3. If I click in my left stick, I will lock my guns in whatever direction I'm pointing them in. So for example, if I want to look this way, I'm going to click left trigger and all of my guns are going to point off to the city. But if I want to look off this way, they're going to point all the way out into the harbor, okay? Shoot, get out of binocular mode, look around. What is your team doing? Where are the enemies at? Where are destroyers at? Where are the cruisers with torpedoes at? I do not like to push up heavy until I know where all the destroyers are or they are all dead. Then I make my decision with cruisers with torpedoes. Cruisers with torpedoes are dangerous, but they are also a glass cannon when it comes to the torpedoes because they usually have to do this to get you into the torpedo's firing arcs, which means that's a big fat broadside right there in front of you that you can slap and delete them out of the game. Okay? Most importantly, and I will reiterate this, have fun, guys. It's a game. Enjoy your time while on the game. If it's giving you a hard time and RNGesus isn't being nice to you, go chill on another game. Go play some Minecraft or some Call of Duty or some Battlefield or Fortnite or Apex. Go play some other games. Give it some time to chill. Give yourself some time to, decompress, because sometimes this game can be frustrating. I've gotten frustrated. I know you guys have heard it before. But just trust me. Learn your ship. Learn the strengths of the ship that you're playing to. Learn the game mechanics, and you will be so much happier in World of Warships Legends. Okay? That is all for today, folks. There might be some more videos up later as I play with friends or if I have a good match, as I'm going to be playing solo for a little while. My friends aren't on yet. But this is Aurora ZX Gaming, signing off.